Today on Public Eye News, the mother of Ethan Crumbley, the Oxford school shooter, is preparing to stand trial. And later, the suspect in a string of murders died in a confrontation with police on Monday night.
Reed Hall will have your sports update, and Kieran Healy will have your weather forecast. I'm Kenzie Herod.
And I'm Austin Graham, and this is Public Eye News. Yesterday, there was a large police presence at Marquette City Hall after a man entered the building and threatened police officers with a loaded handgun. According to a press release issued by the Marquette Police Department, City Hall was evacuated and a perimeter was established around the lower level of the building. After a 90-minute standoff, the suspect was disarmed and transported to UPHS Marquette for an evaluation before being taken into custody. The suspect and one officer sustained minor injuries, and no one else was seriously harmed. At the time of this writing, the suspect's name has not been revealed to the public. The incident is an undergoing investigation and will be turned over to the Marquette County Prosecutor's Office for further review. In Pontiac, Michigan, the mother of the Oxford school shooter is set to stand trial for involuntary manslaughter charges. Jennifer Crumbley and her husband James are being accused of making a gun available to their son Ethan and ignoring his mental health needs. On the day of the shooting, Ethan's parents were brought to Oxford High School after a complaint over their son's violent drawings on his schoolwork. The Crumbleys were advised to remove him from school and put their son into counseling, but refused to do so and left campus. After the attack, the Crumbleys went on the run before being found and charged by police. The couple have been awaiting trial for over 2 years while being held in jail. Involuntary manslaughter in Michigan poses a max sentence of 15 years in prison.
And the U.S. Supreme Court has rejected a request from Michigan's Redistricting Commission to overrule federal appeals court order to redraw 13 Detroit area legislative seats. The court ruled that Michigan's legislative maps drawn in 2021 were illegally influenced by race. The panel ordered the redrawing of 7 state House districts for the 2024 election. The decision is expected to make legislative maps more competitive. The Supreme Court did not provide reasons for this decision. A drafted state House map is due February 2nd with a final deadline on March 29th. The court's move is seen as a setback for the Redistricting Commission, with potential impacts on the state's political landscape. And with a significant development in infrastructure, the U.S. Department of Transportation has gained a whopping $1.06 billion in federal funding to replace the John A. Blatnick Bridge, connecting Duluth, Minnesota and Superior, Wisconsin. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called it a game changer, emphasizing the impact on regional economic growth and national supply chains. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers sees it as a transformational opportunity, ensuring safer travel and supporting billions in freight moving across the bridge annually. The bridge, a vital link for over 60 years, serves as a major connection for the trade with Canada. The total rebuilding cost is estimated at $1.8 billion, with construction potentially starting next year. And over in Minnesota, WCCO's Racin Rantala highlights an act of true friendship and love from an Oakdale couple. Take a look.
Look how positive she is.
Through multiple cancer battles, 100 sessions of chemo,
Just went through
Christine Schlegel fought
everything with just grace.
for more than 8 years. So when the news came out last week,
She never gave up. We saw the story on CCO, actually.
couple Tina Payton and Michelle Moran thought, what better way to honor their friend?
Christine is a fair freak. She loves the fair. These are some of her many, many ribbons she won.
The multiple state fair sweepstakes award winner.
This is some of her work, and she was just an incredible needle worker.
We were like, we got to get a GoFundMe.
The two raised the $2,500
People loved her.
needed for the commemorative bench. So they ordered it Wednesday night,
We just got this feeling like that it was urgent.
not knowing just a day later sales would stop.
She did it. I think she orchestrated this whole thing.
This tribute to their friend, just days before they'd say their final goodbyes. Christine passed away Saturday.
It would just make her happy to know she's so loved. And I mean, she made everyone feel special.
But her spirit will live on in a place she held close to her heart.
If you go to the fair, find the yellow bench in the quadrant around creative activities and have a sit. Christine would love to meet you.
Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
And after this break, Kieran will be back with your weather update, and we'll be back with your national news. Stay tuned.
What a trip!
On Finding Your Roots,
Ed O'Neill,
I always wanted to know ever since I was a little kid.
and Sammy Hagar.
This is like trying to think about black holes and stuff.
A Civil War nurse disregards danger.
She probably watched a lot of men die.
She had grit, man.
Oh, yeah.
And a DNA shocker.
Sammy, genetically, you are not a Hagar.
Ooh-wee.
Tuesday night at 8.
Welcome back. I'm Kieran Healy, and this is your weather report. Starting off with the around campus, on our Skycam seems to be a pretty cloudy day with some snow that's starting to melt around campus with the higher temperatures. And looking to the map of the UP, cloudy conditions right now currently. And starting in Houghton, it is 31 degrees. In Ironwood, it is 28 degrees. Iron Mountain, it is 29 degrees. Down in Menominee, it's 32 degrees. In Escanaba, it is 33 degrees. Heading up to Manistee, it's 32 degrees. In Sault Ste. Marie, 27. And here in our lovely Marquette, it is 32 degrees and cloudy. Taking a closer look at current conditions, winds are southeast at 5 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 30.36 inches and steady. Looking at tonight, it'll be cloudy skies with a low of 25 and winds south at 6 miles an hour. Tomorrow, it will be cloudy with a high of 35, a low of 31, and winds south-southwest at 7 miles an hour. And looking ahead to the rest of the week, Thursday there will be a wintry mix with a high of 37, a low of 33. On Friday, there will be a high of 37, a low of 32 with some cloudy skies. Those cloudy skies will continue into Saturday with a high of 37 and a low of 32. That is all for this weather report. Now back to the desk with national news.
Thank you, Kieran, for that weather update. Looks like it's going to be pretty gloomy going into our weekend here. Moving into our national news, in Chicago, Illinois, a man who is believed to be the suspect of shooting and killing 8 people took his own life after a confrontation with U.S. Marshals in Texas. Romeo Nance was wanted for killing 8 people in different areas of Chicago's suburbs, which sparked officers to begin a search. Authorities told reporters that the victims of these killings were found in 3 different homes and that Nance was still on the loose and should be considered armed and dangerous. The Medina County Sheriff's Office in Texas said in a social media post that they had received a call about Nance being spotted along Interstate 35. A standoff between Nance and U.S. Marshals took place at a gas station shortly thereafter, where he shot himself. Yesterday in Washington, D.C., the Supreme Court allowed Border Patrol agents to resume cutting razor wire along the U.S.-Mexico border. The razor wire was installed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to prevent immigrants from illegally crossing the border. The 5-4 ruling by the Supreme Court has allowed for Border Patrol to keep cutting the wires down. Some immigrants have been injured by the wire, which prompted the U.S. Justice Department to sue Abbott, arguing that the wire doesn't allow the government to fully patrol the border. None of the justices explained their reasoning for their vote yesterday, only providing a 1-page order on the issue. The ruling seems to be a victory for the Biden administration as the lawsuit between the Justice Department and Governor Abbott continues. In Gaza, the conflict continues despite pressure towards a ceasefire and heavy losses for Israel. Recently, the U.S. and other allies launched attacks against militants in the region due to fears of a more widespread war. CBS correspondent Tina Cross has more. Take a look.
The loss of 24 soldiers marks Israel's deadliest day of the ground war against Hamas, as the Israeli government faces growing pressure to find an end to the conflict.
I am sick that we're losing these wonderful young men. We need them alive in Israel.
Israeli forces surrounded Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis Tuesday for a major assault, just hours after Palestinian militants took out their troops. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to press ahead toward absolute victory. But Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says Palestinian civilians are paying the price for Israel's bombardment, and World Food Program officials say much of the territory is at risk of starvation.
We have called for an immediate humanitarian pause so we can get aid in, we can get hostages out.
Israelis are divided over whether it's possible to destroy Hamas and rescue more than 100 hostages still held in Gaza. This woman's husband is one of the captives. She says, "I can't breathe. It's been almost 4 months and they are still there." With growing fears of a wider war in the region, overnight the U.S. bombed Houthi rebel targets in Yemen to stop militants from targeting shipping in the Red Sea. The attacks came after the deaths of 2 U.S. Navy SEALs lost at sea in a raid to seize Iranian weapons bound for Yemen. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
And we'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
A senior Hamas leader was killed in an explosion in Beirut. The conflict between Israel and Hamas may be expanding.
Amid fears of a widening conflict.
There are lots of different political groups here. They're all demonstrating side by side with Hamas supporters.
Correspondent Ramita Navai is on the ground in the Middle East.
All the homes here are covered in bullet marks. Nearly every other day, IDF forces are coming here and clashing with militants. This is another front in Israel's war.
Premieres Tuesday, January 23rd, 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
Welcome back. I'm Reed Hall with your sports update. Diving right into sports, NMU's Toby Stiles has been named the GLIAC Diver of the Week for his effort this past weekend. NMU played host to the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay this past Saturday, in which Stiles found himself atop the podium twice during the Wildcats' 174-114 route. Stiles' success didn't end there, as he also set team records in both the 1-meter and 3-meter six dives. Stiles broke his own record in the 1-meter he set last season and upended a 52-year record in the 3-meter. The Cats will be back making a splash in the Peef Pool Saturday, playing host to Michigan Tech's club team for Senior Day. And in more Wildcat news, men's basketball sophomore standout Max Weisbrod has earned his second consecutive GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week. Weisbrod averaged 21.5 points per game over the two-game weekend, helping the Cats take down Purdue Northwest 82-78 and Parkside 61-58. Weisbrod has been a staple in NMU's current 11-game winning streak and a perfect 8-0 GLIAC record. On the season, Weisbrod sixth in the conference in scoring, averaging 15.4 points per game, and third in assists at 4.3 a game. Weisbrod and the boys will be back in action this Saturday inside the Barry, where they'll take on the Michigan Tech Huskies. And if you're not tired of hearing it yet, the Pistons dropped yet another game last night, this time 122-113 at the hands of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pistons kept things interesting into the fourth, leading 96-95 with just over 9 to play before their usual fourth quarter collapse that saw the Pistons shoot just 1 for 10 in the final 5 minutes. The Bucks struggled all night to get the three ball to fall, but were lifted to victory thanks to a Giannis 31-point, 17-rebound, and 10-assist triple-double. The Pistons were led by rookie guard Marcus Saucer's 23 points off the bench and a strong defensive effort by Isaiah Stewart, who recorded 5 blocks. The Pistons will be back in action tomorrow, seeking just their 5th win on the season, playing host to the Charlotte Hornets. And that's all the sports I have for today. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Reed, for that sports update. Kenzie, how about those Wildcats on the basketball court this year? They've just been phenomenal, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see their game against Michigan Tech this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to another win.
Yeah, for sure. I hear you have a few more stories for us here.
Yeah, I do. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson secures rights to his iconic nickname under a new deal with the WWE. Johnson joins the board of TKO Group, the company housing WWE and UFC. The Rock holds significant personal significance for him, and he emphasized its role in his wrestling and Hollywood career. TKO Group's strategic growth initiatives include WWE's move to Netflix in a major streaming deal worth over $5 billion. And back again with a Barbenheimer showdown, this time at the Oscars instead of the theater. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer scores 13 nominations, closely followed by Gerwig's Barbie with 9 nods. Notably, the Ukraine war documentary, 20 Days in Mariupol, marks the AP's first Oscar nomination in its 178-year history.
So how about The Rock getting his own trademark to his own nickname? I had no idea that, that was a thing. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's crazy that he's had such an insane and memorable career and not been able to own the rights to his own name.
Right, because I figured with the WWE, I figured that they might have given him like a share, of his name because of the merchandising and everything. But I think that's really cool that he got to do that. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for Public Eye News today. I'm Austin Graham.
I'm Kenzie Harrod.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.
Thanks for watching Public Eye News. You can subscribe to our YouTube, tune into WNMU Channel 13 every weekday at 4, or follow our Instagram at NMU Penn to never miss a story.